this Libra season, with this focus on our relationships, there is going to be a lot of focus on forgiveness. Hi friends, welcome back to Meryl's Mystic. I'm Meryl, and if you're new here, I am a mystical relationship coach, and I empower witches, bitches, and dudes to complete themselves in order to have healthier soulmate relationships and more purpose-filled lives. And today we are here to talk about Libra season. Libra season will be taking place between September 22nd and October 22nd, 23rd, depending on where you are in the world. And Libra season will be a much welcome change after the very structured, task-oriented energy of Virgo season. And the one thing to be aware of is that during this Libra season, we will be experiencing Mercury in retrograde in Libra. We're experiencing our Mercury retrogrades in the air signs this year. So it will have us kind of in our heads about things, but it will be things that we need to think about. And for Libra, it will be about our relationships. And so be prepared for a little bit of the stirring of the pot in your relationship. So if there's things that aren't being said or any issues that are being ignored, this Mercury retrograde in Libra could easily bring those up. And Mercury is the planet of communication, so when it's retrograde, there does tend to be some miscommunications happening. And so make sure that you're really being open and honest with those that are closest to you. That's really important. And to double check communications, in the sense of making sure people understand what you mean when you speak to them, when you are communicating with them. So if you feel like there's all of a sudden some tension in your relationship because communication isn't working so well, pause, breathe, don't react. Don't just fly off the handle and be like, well, how could you think that I think that? It's a good time to say, well, wait, I need you to make sure that you're hearing me correctly. Well, wait, can you repeat back to me what you just heard? Because I want to make sure that I'm communicating clearly to you, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page and that you understand what I'm saying to you. So there could be a lot of that stuff coming up for Libra season. So Mercury will be entering retrograde on the 26th, 27th of September, and we've already been in the shadow since the 6th, since the last new moon in Virgo. And then it will go direct October 18th. After November 3rd, we'll be out of the shadow. So a lot of the energy of Libra season will be a focus on our relationships, and very much so it should be focusing on nurturing the relationships that are most important to you. In Virgo season, you should have gotten some grounding, and you should have been able to kind of prioritize yourself and your world a little better. And so hopefully you've kind of realized, maybe there are certain people in your life that you just kind of have drifted apart from each other, and that's okay. And it's just time to focus on the people who want to be in your life, not necessarily the ones who make you kind of feel like a second thought, or the ones that have just decided they don't want to be around you at all. This is definitely a time to review, are we in healthy relationship with ourselves and with each other? And you don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. So definitely focus on being with the people that want to be with you, and the people that fill you up with love and light and energy. And we already had some of that with this Pisces full moon. This Pisces full moon right at the end of Virgo season on the 20th, on September 20th, really helped kind of usher in this feeling, this focus on needing to make sure that you are doing things with people or doing activities with yourself that re-energize you, that fill you up with energy, that ignite you, that are the things that remind you of how beautiful life is, and how and why you came to Earth and chose to be human. And that's really going to carry into Libra season. So Libra season for me, I always think of like pink. That's why I'm like wearing my pinks today. I did my more pinky makeup. I have more pinky nails. Like, I love color association with the energies of the seasons. Stone association. I'll probably be wearing my rose quartzes and my pink rhododendrite. I think that's how you say it, rhododendrite. It's just, a lot of that is because Libra, like Pisces, is the other sign that I feel like really looks at life through rose-colored glasses. You know, there's this, they say that Aquarius is the most evolved air sign, and that Aquarius is usually good about getting in touch with their emotions. I feel like Aquarius is actually better at not letting negative things affect them, and Libra is actually a little bit more on the positive side. They are represented by the scales, so, and they are the only archetype that is not a living thing, which is interesting. And so I have met certain Libras that over the years that are just like, oh, we're boring, or oh, you know, there's just like nothing exciting about us, or they're like, you know, they feel like they have this reputation of being like cold, or too logical, and I just don't find that to be true. All the Libras in my life are some of the most loving people that I've known, and Libra definitely like has a reputation of can be like maybe a little more flighty or a little bit of an airhead. All air signs kind of have that quality every now and then, especially Gemini and Libra, but Libra is the most forgiving sign I found, like almost to a fault. I feel like I see some of these like loving Libras that are just like such gems of people, and they like don't value themselves enough. They so easily push themselves aside, and that they easily get taken advantage of by those people around them who know that they'll just like say yes and do these things, and that you can just step on them and they'll like eventually take you back. So if you have Libras in your lives, like, don't do that. Show them the same courtesy of forgiveness, because I feel like some Libras aren't, what's the word I'm looking for? Libra energy can be not as stable. Like, they can appear to not maybe be as like stable as like an earth sign, but I feel like we should be returning this like courtesy that they give all of us of like acceptance and forgiveness. So whoever the Libras are in your life, like, just try to focus on their good qualities and forgive them when they're, you know, when you're maybe feeling like they're not tapping into their good qualities. Like, we need to hold more space for our Libras, because Libra holds so much space for us without even realizing it. And the energy of them is very diplomatic. They want things to be fair. They're really good at seeing both sides of the situation. Empowered Libras tend to be really strong in themselves, and just kind of like when they see that things aren't going to serve them, or they see that things don't align with them, they're like, don't care, just moving on. And I feel like that really carries into Aquarius, where Aquarians really quickly off the bat are just like, if it's not working for me, like, forget you, I'm not even dealing with it. It takes Libras a little bit longer to be in that strength, but man, once you see them really step into their power, it's like such a beautiful thing. So hug your Libras. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how beautiful they are, because we need them. We really do. And it makes me so sad when I've met Libras in the past. They're like, I'm a Libra, it's boring. Like, no, it's not. It's not. It's just, in society at large, in this world, we so easily write off kindness for weakness, and that they are some of the kindest, most accepting people and most forgiving. So they're here to teach us something. So Libra is represented by justice, in the tarot and the major arcana. And as you can see, Justice is pretty perfect for Libra. We were talking about them being very diplomatic and being able to see both sides of the story. And we have the scales represented here, and then we have the sword representing air. And as you can see, like, I feel like this is a good reminder of like what Libra can be when they're in their full power and strength. And I hope that you got some of that infused into in Virgo season. This is, all of these seasons have really been leading up to us being in our power and being our unapologetic selves. And now it's time to like really love that. And I think, like, notice that there's like the crown. I just kind of noticed that there's also like the shroud here and the pillars, and that is very reflective of the High Priestess. So even though air signs tend to be very cerebral, remember that we all have intuition, and it's just about how we tap into that differently. And just seeing the signs of when things like feel good or when things feel icky. And so it's the scales. It's like, well, what do I want to give my time and attention to? Like, how is it really making me feel? This Libra season, with this focus on our relationships, there is going to be a lot of focus on forgiveness. The forgiveness that we offer to each other is not always for the other person. Sometimes we have to forgive people for ourselves and for our own peace of mind. Because sometimes the people that we feel like betray us or hurt us, they don't always deserve our energy and our time of like going to them and saying, hey, I really forgive you for doing this thing, especially if they're not like coming to you and being like, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Sometimes we have to forgive people without even getting any sort of acknowledgement or apology from that person. When I have to forgive people for myself and I don't have a way of telling them specifically, and forgiveness work takes a long time. Sometimes you can try to forgive people for years, and it just, and sometimes even when you do forgiveness work for those people, it doesn't, sometimes the hurt can be so deep that it's hard to let go. So for yourself, just start practicing this. Don't expect it to happen right away, but a good practice to implement when you're doing forgiveness work is letter writing that you don't send. So I've written a lot of letters to a lot of people that I don't send. A lot of time I burn them in full moon rituals to just like let it go. Let it go into the universe, send them, blessings. It's just about turning around the energy so that we're not focusing on this like revenge or ill will or like wanting them to hurt the way that we hurt. It's so easy to do that, and that just brings you into your lower vibrations. And we're better than that. You're better than that. You wouldn't be here if you weren't trying to live a higher vibration life. And I'm trying to live a higher vibration life all the time, but it's a practice. It is not something that you just like reach a higher vibration. You're just like, I'm up here all the time and nothing else bothers me. No, because we're still human. We came here to have human experiences, and human experiences come with the pain and the shadow, and it shows, and we have to experience that so that we can find our light and find the beauty in life in general. So if you have any more questions about forgiveness work or how to do that, please reach out to me. I'm really excited for Libra season. I really was excited for the Pisces full moon because this really speaks to like my calling in life and how I just really want to help us all be in better relationships with each other in the world. And it really starts with having better relationships with ourselves. So if you don't know how to start forgiving other people, maybe write a letter to yourself and forgive yourself about whatever mistakes you might have made in the past, things that you might have treated yourself wrong. It really starts with you. And so I really implore you to do some sort of forgiveness work during Libra season, whether it's for yourself or for others, or maybe you need to actually speak forgiveness to your partner or your parent or your child or your friend, you know. So there should be lots of opportunities for this, but make sure you're also doing your best to discern where, like, why, like, your motives also behind it. Why do you want to forgive them? Does this person even deserve any of my energy if they are coming to me saying, you know, I'm sorry, you know, I miss you, I want to be back in your life? It's like, well, we got to recognize where am I now? Like, I appreciate it. I let's squash it. But a lot of the time, things change because they're supposed to. Things change because we can't go backwards. And it's really nice to have some nostalgia and some good feelings about things, but we also have to remember our boundaries and remember why certain people just aren't in our lives anymore. And that's okay. And we just want to wish them well and wish them well on their path. Because we're all on our own paths too. It's really about focusing on your own path and what you need to heal and to forgive and to live your best life, and how to protect yourself and how to tap into the joy and abundance that is all around you. So I really am sending you so many happy, loving blessings for Libra season. I think it's going to be a really great one. The first day of Libra season is also the autumn equinox, so we're moving into fall here in the northern hemisphere. So I'm really excited for some different energy. It was, you know, it's been an intense couple years. It was an intense summer, and so just give yourself some time and some space. Hold space for yourself, and don't push yourself too far, okay? There's plenty of time for that. This is about being a little gentler and a little more loving with you. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get into your taroscopes. Hi, Gemini. So good to see you. Let's see what Libra has in store for you. It's an air sign, so there should be some good things on the horizon. Let's see how this theme of self-love and your relationship with yourself are coming forward for you. Ooh, we're starting off big with a lot of these readings this season. So I do encourage you to watch the taroscope for your sun, moon, and rising sign, and you can find links below for calculators to find those out. Because we're starting off with the moon in reverse. A lot of deep reflections happening this season. A lot of need to look in the mirror and to look at ourselves and to see, are we truly caring for ourselves in the best way possible? Are you truly caring for yourself in the best way possible? And it's really, how are you treating yourself on all levels? Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. How are you managing both sides of you also? As a dual sign, Gemini, you're so closely connected to both your light and your shadow, and that can be a challenge because you're so attached to both sides. And I think that's why Gemini can get such a bad reputation, because it can be very triggering for people, because a lot of people don't know how to tap into both sides of them. And I feel like this is a really good time for you to be able to master both sides of you. Because in the moon card we see too, we have a wolf and a domesticated dog. Two sides of the same being, the wild side and the tame side. And that's really what this is. This is really what this is about. There's something about really recognizing both sides of you and figuring out how to balance that. And also figuring out how those both of those sides are represented in the world. And I feel like Spirit really wants you to remember that if you don't like how people are perceiving you, first off, a lot of the time that's their problem. But second, the thing that they really wanted me to say was that it's up to you to change it. They're both sides of you, baby. So there's a level of responsibility here that needs to be taken. And so for the season, it's really about really getting in touch with both sides of you. And what does that look like? How do they feel different? How do they look different? Is there a way that you almost like want to embrace that? I know a lot of Geminis that their other side is so strong that they have nicknames for them. So maybe you need to like go deeper into that and like create a whole persona for that person. Create a whole persona for that other side of you. How would they dress differently? And what parts of you are represented in each side of you? And how can you alchemize them together? How can you get them to work together? When the moon comes up, this is really about like going deep. Going deep. There's a lot of deep messaging coming up for Libra season, which I think is kind of interesting because Libra's an air sign, you're an air sign, and a lot of the times air signs have a hard time going emotionally deep. But I feel like Libra can go there because they have they're represented by the scales, and so sometimes like sometimes the one scale's gotta go down, and then we come back up, and then sometimes they're balanced. They can't stay balanced all the time, and that's okay. It's just about figuring out how to manage that, how to tap into it, and how it's gonna feel right for you. And a piece of that also is making sure that if you don't like parts of yourself or parts of one side of yourself, you can change that. You can let that piece go. But that requires really looking at it. You have to really look at the aspects of yourself that you don't like in order for them to change. This very much feels like there's parts of you within you that you need to that you need to let go of and move away from. The Six of Swords is all about moving from a rough situation to a smoother situation. And the thing is too is that like you can only take certain things with you. You have to leave certain things behind. But these are things that you've learned. These are things that you know about yourself to be true. And so if there are parts of yourself that like are being perceived in a poor way, or there's just things about yourself that you've noticed that you don't like about yourself, you're allowed to get rid of those. You're allowed to work on them. You're allowed to leave them behind because it feels like they are holding you back a little bit. And it's in your power to not let them hold you back anymore. I've had to do this myself, so I'm not just like preaching to you about this, like, come on, Gemini, like, this thing's about yourself. As a Scorpio, I've had to seriously look at my tendencies to be jealous and possessive and obsessive, and really look at that and look how that shows up. And I've had to go to therapy about it. I've had to really acknowledge it too, that those are parts of myself, in order to work on them so they weren't controlling me anymore. So they weren't such huge prevalent parts of myself. So if you're not as tapped into like all the aspects of what it means to be a Gemini, and also like look at your moon and rising sign also, and there's light and shadow for each sign. There are favorable and unfavorable aspects of each sign. And if you're not totally sure, you have an idea, you're not totally sure, look at that. You can just Google it. Google aspects of Gemini. You know, there's all kinds of resources out there, aspects of whatever your moon or rising sign is. Negative traits, positive traits, negative traits, and decide. Decide what you want to do with it. Decide which parts of you are gonna, you know, feed, and which parts of you are not. Which are you gonna feed, the wild wolf or the tame dog? Are you gonna have them both a little bit? Are you gonna recognize when there's a good time to like get that wild wolf out? Next is the Eight of Cups, more walking away. This is something that you have to do emotionally and mentally. That's why it's coming up swords and cups, one after the other. It's time to walk away from these things that aren't serving you anymore. And it's like, what's internal in you that's not serving you? Okay? And then next, Ace of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Lots of Pentacles coming up too. So it's like, how are these things showing up in your physical world? And how are you maybe not prioritizing the good parts of yourself and giving a little bit of that away? With the Ace of Pentacles coming up in reverse, it is just kind of, I feel like, and if you're, I need to figure out how to like show you guys like what I'm looking at the same time, because it's coming up right underneath this. And a lot of time when these come up in reverse, it's referencing the card before. So the fact that we've already had the Two of Pentacles come up, it's like, it's not time for like new things yet. It's not even maybe time for new opportunities. We need to go back to the balance. Oh, you know what? I got that reversed. Because if the Two of Pentacles was in reverse, then it would mean the Ace of Pentacles. So it's interesting that it's the Ace of Pentacles in reverse after the two. It's like they don't want you to go backwards also. It's like, whoa. No need to go back. This is all for going forwards. You don't need new aspects of yourself. You don't need new things outside of you. Maybe you do, but this is about what's happening internally. It's got to start internally first for things on the outside to change. There's very few things that we can change on the outside that will affect the inside of us. Unless there's like people that are draining you, people that aren't returning your energy, like that's the only thing right now for you that you can change that will affect how you feel internally. Is anybody who's not supportive of what you're doing, anybody who's not accepting of who you are, accepting of how you're changing, because sometimes we also have to leave people behind. The sixes in reverse coming up. So this is about nurturing yourself internally, mentally and emotionally. And you can handle it. I know you can. I think Geminis get a bad rap for not being able to go there because sometimes it's scary and it's hard. It's not easy. But the fact that I know that you can get in touch with that part of yourself, it's just figuring out how to get in touch with that part of yourself in a healthy, supported way. It's funny because I feel like this, with Libra season 2, like, I'm hearing a lot of, let them know. If you've been thinking about getting counseling or therapy or some sort of support, there's so many great ways that they're making it accessible to people now and making it easier to get that kind of support. Because many times we need an outside, third-party, non-biased source to help us reflect pieces of us back to us. Okay? I believe in you. I know you can do it. I'm going to get you a postcard from Spirit by Collette Baron-Reid. You are loved. You are loved. Dearest you, we are sending you waves of love and joy as we watch you reap the rewards of your tenacity and faith. We know how long it has taken for you to reach some of your goals and that you've had disappointments along the way. Right now, we suggest you take a deep breath and fill yourself up with gratitude and tune into the vibration of well-being. Take a deep breath in your nose. Fill up with gratitude. Let it all out. Release. Relax. Temporary conditions may be trying to hypnotize you into seeing something else as your reality. But we know that happy rewards are on their way to you even now. Change is the only constant, so be open to it. You will achieve your dreams and more, we promise. But more important, your happy rewards will be gathered up in the small moments, the gentle breezes, the soft kisses, and the quiet commitments. Your happiest moments will be on the journey itself, not in arriving at any destination. You are surrounded by so much love and care. Can you feel us? So that's also a good point, is like recognizing these things in yourself too. A lot of the time just requires being present and aware. And that's a lot of the time the first step. Okay? I believe in you, Gemini. I love you. You are love. I'm sending you so much love and care for Gemini season, for Libra season. Similar energies. So tap into it. It's right there for you. And let me know if you need any extra support. I will see you for Scorpio season. Thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate all of your support. I'm sending you so much love. If you made it this far, please like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell. Share with a friend. Go follow things at Meryl's Mystic on pretty much all platforms. And join me for my lives on Facebook and Instagram. My lives for October will be the 1st, the 15th, and then I will be doing a live for Halloween Samhain on the 31st. And I'll see you soon. Bye. Jesus, solid, solid.